Hello, and welcome to another meeting of the Lotus Council. So what we have today is I have a deck tech. So I do dabble a little bit in competitive play, like to do standard, pioneer, and I'm likely going to be getting a little bit into modern, but of course I do decks with my own flair and my own way of doing them. So I have my mono red deck that I've built for pioneer. You might recognize it from some of the standard stuff from years past, but that's kind of what Pioneer is. So for the creatures, I got a lot of creatures and spells here. So I have 4 each of Bone Crusher Giant. I really like Bone Crusher because of the 2 options where you can deal damage and then have a big body that causes people to take damage. Then I got Beaumont Courier. It is a 1/1, but it has haste and it gives you the ability to basically get cards that have been exiled back. So it's a way to fill your hand, which is really, really nice. 4 copies of Monastery Swiftspear, again a 1/2 with haste and prowess, and I'll talk about that strategy here in a bit. 4 copies of Fervent Champion. This is a 1/1 with first strike and haste, but whenever it attacks, another target attacking knight you control gets +1/+0 till end of turn. And basically, equip abilities cost 3 less to activate. So for most things available, it's almost a free equip, if not free. So if you've got multiple of these, they can pump each other. We'll talk about that also here in a second, what's going on. So put those there. 3 copies of Runaway Steamkin. Really good for when you're casting a red spell. You put a +1/+1 counter up to 3. Then you can remove 3 +1/+1 counters and get 3 red. So, ramp. Scorch Spitter, probably one of my favorite cards from Standard of Days Yore. Whenever it attacks, it deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker it is attacking. 1/1 for 1. Then, of course, Torbran. This is a 2/4. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2. Suddenly this is spitting lightning bolts at him. So really important for that. Then I have some additional spells. So we've got 3 copies of Chandra, Acolyte of Flame. So I like this one because you can add loyalty counters, but I'm not usually doing loyalty counters. So I usually go for the second option. Create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste, and you sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. So you're basically making things to attack. They're hasty. Embercleave because it needs it. And you might have noticed there's a lot of 1/1s. Well, it's because this is a Cavaclade deck. So Cavaclade of Calamity, whenever a creature you control with power 1 or less attacks, it deals 1 damage to that player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. That's why I have Torbran in the deck. So instead of 1, it's 3, and this can go off really quick. And you might notice most of my creatures that are 1/1 have haste. It's intentional. Then I got 2 lights up the stage and 4 lightning strikes to deal 3 damage to any target. Which again, with Torbran, pumps it up, and with light up the stage and things that are causing damage, it's going to go off pretty quickly. Other strategies, I have 4 copies of Castle Embreth. Comes untapped unless you control a mountain. I mean, it's mono red, so I've got castles and some deserts, which you can kind of see ramming up runes there. But you can pump your creatures to give them +1/+0. And you can do that after, the Cavaclade triggers. The ruins, because this is colorless, but you can pay 1 life and add a red. But you can sacrifice it and have it deal 2 damage to each opponent. I don't think that triggers with Torbran, but it's actually saved my bacon a few times when I've got an opponent's down and on their turn, when they're getting ready to go off and they start playing spells, I do that in response and just kill them. And of course, a bunch of mountains, so pretty simple mana base, very cheap. Let's talk about sideboard. Of course, another copy of Embercleave. Ideally, I would have 4 copies of Embercleave, but, Embercleave is fairly expensive. I think I might have 1 more copy floating around. I got to go looking for it, but I think 2 is sufficient. 2 more light up the stages, which I'm okay with them being in there because I do have the Courier to help refill my hand. Another Chandra, another Torbran, and then Tybalt, Rakish Instigator. Basically shutting off that light, and then creating these 1/1 Devil Creature tokens that when it dies, it deals 1 damage. Again, synergizing with Torbran and all that. Got Searing Blood, which Torbran out, it's 4 damage. And if the creature dies, it deals 3 plus 2, with Torbran. So really, really good value for 2 mana. And of course, I got Rolling Vortexes. There are some free spells that get played in the current meta, so this really pings them. And of course, with Torbran, it's pinging for 3 or 7 if they cast a spell without mana. So it really makes it so they can't. It shuts down those decks. Of course, the tokens on Adventure, the Hasty Elementals, the Devils. Then on the back there are some Satyrs, but I don't have any Satyr generators in this deck. I don't have Annex. So basically just a quick rundown of the deck. The idea is I'm trying to do as much damage after attacks are declared and all of that, and pings are done. I would use some of my instants to maybe deal additional damage, pump up Monastery Swiftsphere, maybe pump all my creatures with Castle Embereth, pop down Embercleave, because it's 1 less for each attacking creature. So if I've got, 4 attacking creatures, it's 2, and it gives a creature +1/+1. Double Strike and Trample, which there's a reason why people don't like Embercleave. So suddenly something like Monastery Swiftsphere that is, it's a 1/2, it's not really scary, not really dangerous. Suddenly I'm popping Embercleave on it. It's getting the +1/+1 from the Embercleave, the +1/+1 for the prowess. Then if I have Torbran out, it's just an absolute finisher. So the idea is just fast red deck wins. So that's my red Pioneer deck. I'm putting together a Rakdos one, which should be really fun. I'll show you that one. It's a little bit different based off of Lurrus. So everything is 2-drop or less for the creature spells. So pretty fun. And then I'm putting together a couple of modern decks, so you'll be able to see those. I am going to do a mono green Stompy, which will be fun. And of course, be able to show some of the really cool things that I'm doing. So just keep on the lookout for those. Yes, these decks are not, jank. But like I said, I do dabble in a little bit of competitive play. I just have my own way of doing that. And I really find certain aspects of some, what am I trying to say? Competitive things really fun. Not a grinder, really. I just like to play in the tournaments when they're occasionally here. A couple of places will do store credit and really cool prizes and things. So, I basically play for that reason. I'm not after it to win and go pro and do all of that stuff. I dabble for fun, which probably is not something that people want to hear when they're on the pro scene. But again, that's my mono red Pioneer deck. So thank you for joining us today. If you're on the lookout for cards, please check out our sponsor over at Geekified. You can find them at geekified.us. Of course, I'm keeping it in the Pioneer deck box that it came in. And that was some of the backbone. Sorry. Well, if you're interested in our next video, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell notification, and join us in our Discord. So, two of those things are really important, the Discord and subscribing, because we're doing a giveaway this year for the holidays. So, check out that in the description below. Essentially, we're building a commander deck from all sorts of packs and things, and we'll be giving that away to one person here in the US. Shipping here in the US is really, really weird, so we made the group decision that we didn't want to send internationally this year because we've had issues with that this year trying to send people things. So, yeah. Check out the info below, and it should be fun. So, thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. That's all we have for today, and the meeting is now adjourned.